Hello everyone, welcome to Misfit Academy. I will be talking about a honest and comprehensive breakdown on what the problems of Nigeria, what these problems are. Let's get straight into it. The first problem facing Nigeria is corruption. Corruption. This is the root of almost every other problem on this list. I'm using Claude to properly talk about this and educate us. The first problem is corruption. Corruption is the root of almost every other problem on this list. Corruption in Nigeria is not occasional, it is systemic. It operates at every level, from the police officer collecting a bribe at a checkpoint to the senator stealing billions from the national treasury. Nigeria loses five an estimated $18 billion annually to corruption, according to the African Union. Money meant for hospitals, roads, schools, and power infrastructure disappears into private pockets before it reaches the people it was meant to serve. Until corruption is genuinely punished at the highest levels, every other problem on this list becomes almost impossible to solve. We need to fight corruption because there's too much corruption in Nigeria. And it says here that until corruption is genuinely punished at the highest levels, every other problem on this list becomes almost impossible to solve. It becomes impossible to solve until corruption is genuinely punished. The second problem is electricity. Electricity has been independent since 1960 and still cannot provide, excuse me, Nigeria has been independent since 1960 and still cannot provide reliable electricity to its 20 million people. The national grid regularly collapses. The average Nigerian business runs on a generator. The average Nigerian home experiences more hours without power than with it. This single problem alone cost the Nigerian economy an estimated 29 billion annually in lost productivity. No serious industrial economy can be built without reliable power. Every factory, every hospital, every school, every tech startup is handicapped by this one failure. Guys, I lived in the UK for 3 years and 4 months, and the electricity never blinked. Not once. Nigeria has crude oil as a natural resource. We have lots of water bodies. We have the sunlight. Yet, We cannot generate sustainable electricity. We cannot generate constant electricity. Not only is there corruption, which is making us lose $18 billion annually, according to Claude, there is also a problem with electricity that is allowing us to lose $29 billion annually in lost productivity. Guys, that is 18 plus 29. That is $47 billion already lost every single year. We keep praying, but when will we Nigerians do the right thing? We need to do the right thing. May God help us. Unemployment and underemployment is the third one. Nigeria has one of the highest youth unemployment rates in the world. Over 33% of Nigerians are unemployed, and the number rises dramatically when you include underemployment. People who are working but earning poverty wages in informal jobs. With 60% of Nigeria's population under the age of 25, this is a demographic time bomb. Millions of young people with energy, ambition, and intelligence, and nowhere productive to direct it. This is the exact problem Misfits was built to address. The high rate of unemployment and underemployment in Nigeria is one of the reasons why a lot of people immigrate to different countries. If Nigeria had employment, so many people would stay and try and build this country. But when people's future is at risk, they would ignore the greater good and find a way to primarily survive. This is not the best course of action, but a hungry man cannot think properly. But guys, we need to fix this country, please, because there is nowhere home. There is nowhere like home. Underemployment and unemployment is a big problem in Nigeria, and Misfits Academy was created to solve this problem. Misfits Academy was created to create employment for Nigerians. It was created to create an avenue for an average Nigerian to have skills, to have the tools required to get a job and to also create employment, because we understand that the lack of employment leads to idleness, and the lack of employment leads to poverty. The lack of employment leads to hunger. The lack of employment leads to anger. And this leads to a lot of problems that Nigeria is battling. And so we need to fix this unemployment problem, and Misit Academy will fix this problem. Next, we have poverty. One of the problems Nigeria is fixing is poverty. Despite being Africa's largest economy, Nigeria has more people living in extreme poverty than any other country on earth. Over 133 million Nigerians, that is 63% of the population, live in multi-dimensional poverty. They lack access to basic education, healthcare, clean water, adequate food, and economic opportunity simultaneously. Nigeria's oil wealth has never translated into prosperity for ordinary Nigerians because it has been captured by a small elite and never reinvested in the people. Earlier on, I said poverty is as a result of unemployment. This is true, but poverty is also a huge problem in Nigeria that it takes its own section. Guys, ladies, children, adults, grandpas, grandmas, everybody, 63% of the population live in multi-dimensional poverty. Guys, 63%, that is 133 million Nigerians in a country that has $47 billion being embezzled. This is unfair. This is not humane, and we need to do better. Please, our leaders, please, we need to do better. This is unfair. This is not right. This is not justified. They're living in multi-dimensional poverty. That means they're living in abject poverty. A poverty of different dimensions. From homelessness to not eating at all, to not having clothes to wear, to not having education, to not having water to drink, to not having food to eat. All because some people want to have too much. Some people want to have so much that they cannot even spend. Please, we need to do better. These are human beings like us. These are people of flesh and blood. Please, we need to do better. I beg you, in the name of God. Ouch. I'm kneeling down. Please, Nigerian politicians. But I know that kneeling down will not do anything. So, it's time for us to actually do something real. And I'll start by educating you guys because I think there's only so much we can do by begging. These people living in multidimensional poverty, they lack access to basic education, they lack access to healthcare, they lack access to clean water, they lack access to adequate food, they lack access to economic opportunity, and Nigerians' oil wealth. Because yes, Nigeria is rich in oil. This oil wealth is not even going to them. So much money circulating, and yet we have people living in poverty. This is not right. This is not right. We need to fix it. Another problem we are facing in Nigeria is insecurity. Nigeria is facing multiple simultaneous security crises. Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast have been terrorizing communities for over a decade. Banditry and kidnapping have exploded across the northwest, making farming and travel dangerous. The separatist agitation of IPOB in the southeast creates tension and periodic violence. Other farmer conflicts across the Middle Belt have displaced millions and destroyed livelihoods. Armed robbery and urban crime are a daily reality in major cities. The cumulative effect is a country where ordinary people do not feel safe and where investment is scared away. Guys, there is so much insecurity in Nigeria. And this is a major problem. We have Boko Haram, we have ISWAP, we have bandits, we have herdsmen, we have IPOB, and we are fellow Nigerians. It is fellow Nigerians that are making up these criminal organizations, these terrorist organizations. They are humans like you and I, and yet we are terrorizing ourselves. We are killing ourselves. This is not right. Think about the intricacies. We are killing our own selves. For what? Even if the country is hard, would killing anyone solve the issue? Would it bring a permanent solution? And then, you're not even killing the corrupt politicians. You are killing average citizens that are suffering. And no, I'm not asking you to kill politicians. What I'm saying is that we should not be killing ourselves. Why are we killing ourselves? This is not right. Please let us stop killing ourselves. I beg you in the name of God. The next one is education crisis. Nigeria has the biggest number of out of school children in the world. Nigeria has, the highest number of out of school children in the world. A country with so much wealth, a country with so much resources. My country, your country, our nation. This is our birthright. On the planet Earth, this is our own birthright. And we are treating it anyhow. We are depriving ourselves of good things like education. And Nigeria, with so much resources, we have the highest number of out of school children in the world, in the entire world. Over 20 million. The schools that do exist are chronically underfunded, understaffed, and outdated. Teachers go months without pay. University lecturers go on strike so regularly that a 4-year degree routinely takes 6 or 7 years to complete. The curriculum has not been meaningfully updated in decades and prepares students for an economy that no longer exists, rather than the digital economy that does. The result is millions of graduates who cannot find jobs because they were trained for yesterday's world. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we need to fix Nigeria. We need to fix Nigeria. We need to fix Nigeria. Repeat after me. We need to fix Nigeria. Guys, there is an education crisis in Nigeria with over 20 million. 20 million out of school. The schools do not even exist. We have schools that exist, but we have schools that don't even exist for children, the future of our nation. And some schools are chronically underfunded. Some are understaffed, and some are outdated. Teachers go months without pay. We even deprive the teachers of their salary. University lecturers go on strike. Four-year courses become 6 to 7 years. And I remember when I was in university, in my undergraduate years, we were striking every year. I was in the University of Ibadan. There was strike practically every single year. ASU strike. Or students protesting because there is not enough resources. We need to do better. The government needs to do better. And we are the government. You and I are the ones that eventually becomes the government. We need to fix our nation. because this is our home. This is our home, and we need to fix this nation. Please, I beg you. We need to fix this nation. 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 Guys, please, everyone, please. And we also have outdated curriculums that is not even preparing students for the digital world. And that is why people leave universities and become unemployed. We need to do better. We need to fix this nation. Please. Another problem with Nigeria is healthcare. Nigeria's healthcare system is in a state of permanent crisis. Permanent crisis. According to Claude, Nigeria's healthcare system is in a state of permanent crisis. There is roughly one doctor for every 5,000 Nigerians, against the World Health Organization recommended ratio of 1 to 600. WHO has a recommendation of 1 to 600. In Nigeria, we barely have 1 to 5,000, meaning we barely have one doctor to 5,000 Nigerians. And World Health Organization is one doctor to 600 individuals. And this could be patients. So it could be one doctor to 5,000 Nigerians or one doctor to 5,000 patients. That is what we barely have in Nigeria. So if you have 5,000 patients right now, there is barely one doctor. When we take the average statistics of the entire Nigeria, because you have a doctor in your own city or your own state doesn't mean there are doctors in other places. We have people suffering. We have people dying. We need to do better. We need to do better. The WHO recommendation is one doctor to 600 people or patients. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, we need to do better. Elderly people, young people, we need to do better. Hospitals lack basic equipment, medicines, and infrastructure. Our hospitals lack basic equipment, they lack medicines, and we lack good infrastructures. Maternal mortality rates are among the highest in the world. Guys, maternal mortality rate means that women die during pregnancy. And this is one of the highest in the world. Nigeria has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world, in the entire world. Guys, we need to do better. We need to do better. The best Nigerian doctors emigrate to the UK. One of my friends from university, that was my roommate, told me that one of our other friends, that was our roommate, has gone to the UK as a doctor. We are losing good talent. This guy, Tunde, was a very, very good student in the University of Ibadan, and he studied dentistry. And now he has gone to the UK. We keep losing talent. Why? Because of corruption. Because they will not pay the doctors. Because they will not treat them well. And then the politicians will now go abroad to go and treat themselves, neglecting the average Nigerians. This is evil. This is not right. And this is not justified. And yes, the politicians are in charge of running the country. We can do better. We can do better. We can do better. We can do better. The best Nigerian doctors emigrate to the UK, US, and Canada because the conditions and pay at home are so poor, a brain drain that makes the problem worse every year. Nigerian politicians, meanwhile, fly to London and America for their own medical treatment, removing any personal incentive they might have to fix the system. A country of over 2 million people. How many politicians do we have? Let's say 500,000. Let's say 1 million politicians. So 1 million people are taking care of themselves. The remaining over 2 million people are suffering. We can do better. We can do better. Please let us do better. I beg you in the name of God. Please. Another problem with Nigeria, and excuse the person speaking in tongues, that is my sister. Another problem with Nigeria is infrastructure deficit. Beyond electricity, Nigeria's infrastructure is in a state of severe underdevelopment. Roads are in despair, making the movement of goods expensive and dangerous. Real infrastructure is minimal. Internet penetration, while growing, is still unreliable and expensive by global standards. Port inefficiency costs billions in lost trade annually. The infrastructure gap is estimated at over $3 trillion. The amount needed to bring Nigeria's infrastructure to a standard that can support a modern economy. So the infrastructure gap we have with first world countries is $3 trillion. And it doesn't even say here if this is a gap between ours and first world countries. So on an average, we need $3 trillion. This is the average based on the little information, because it doesn't say with first world countries or a second world country. Nigeria is a third world country. So we need $3 trillion to get Nigeria's infrastructure running, from good roads to good rail infrastructures. So having global port standards. Our roads are in despair. Guys, it says internet penetration while growing is unreliable and expensive by global standards. We even have poor internet. I use Airtel and I go through a lot trying to upload. Port inefficiency, that is our seaports, cost billions in lost trade annually. We have water bodies, we have Lagos water body there, and we are not doing justice to it. Guys, we need to fix Nigeria. And it is true when Claude said corruption is the biggest problem. Why? Because each government comes and gives us a budget, but after their 4 years, they have nothing to show for it. They come, they give us their budget, they have nothing to show for it. From the time of Nnamdi Azikiwe to right now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, trying to give honor to the president. But from the time of Nnamdi Azikiwe to the time of Ahmed Tinubu, because I'm not being rude, but come on, I'm not really doing anything. From the time of Nnamdi Azikiwe to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, these presidents have been coming to promise us things every 4 years, and they have not been fulfilling these promises. Every 4 years, we are met with a new set of disappointments. And some go for 8 years and they still disappoint us. Nigeria has been on a downward movement, a down slope since 1960. The naira has been going down when compared to the dollars since 1960. The infrastructures have been becoming worse since 1960. They built some roads and then they become spots after a few years. Guys, if you compare the infrastructures they had in 1960 to the infrastructures in 2026, when you compare the state of infrastructures, not the quantity, the state of the infrastructures, and even the quantity that was created in relative to the amount of people using the infrastructures, it is better than what we have in 2026. So that is not a wrong statement if I say that the state of infrastructures has gone down. Because let's say we have 2 good hospitals in 1960. Those 2 good hospitals are very good, because sadly they were overseen by our colonial masters, and they were more than enough to take care of the people, compared to where we are ruining ourselves in 2026, that we have our own resources to manage and we have so many people, and yet we now have fewer infrastructures. So now, since then, we probably estimatedly have like 4 hospitals. This is an estimate. This is a randomized thinking. This is just me generalizing. It's not even random. It's random and it's also me generalizing or insinuating based on the fact that the standard of living and the life of an average Nigeria from 1960 to 2026 has gone down. So if we have a lower standard of living, that simply means that the infrastructures and the things that has been given to us from 1960 has been going down. This is my own personalized level of thinking. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I am not. And I'm not saying that the colonial masters are good either. I am not saying that. As a matter of fact, I kind of believe that they are responsible for all our predicaments. But I'll talk about that in a different video. But now that we are ruling ourselves, we are not even doing a good job. In fact, we are doing a terrible job. I'm not saying the colonial masters did the greatest, and I'm not giving them accolades for building infrastructures with our own resources. But we had a little bit compared to now that we are ruling ourselves, and that is still bad. Because what our slave master did for us is better than what we are doing for our own self. How? As in a Nigerian slang, as how now? Guys, we can do better. We need to do better. We need to do better. The next is currency instability and economic mismanagement. Everything is corruption, really. The Nigerian naira has lost catastrophic value in recent years. Inflation has been running at 25%, making everyday goods increasingly unaffordable for ordinary Nigerians. The central bank has historically managed the currency in ways that created artificial exchange rates, encouraged corruption through forex allocation, and discouraged foreign investment. Once again, to say that properly, the central bank has historically managed the currency in ways that created artificial exchange rates, encouraged corruption through forex allocation, and discouraged foreign investment. The removal of fuel subsidy in 2023 caused an immediate spike in the cost of everything from food to transport that hits the poorest Nigerians hardest. I remember having an argument with my dad in the car sometime last month when I told him that the fuel subsidy that was removed has not equated to anything positive, and he said we should give Tinubu some time. And I told him that give him some time. Sir, people are suffering. People are starving. But he said, yes, that because people are starving right now does not mean Nigeria will not be better. That is how it is when the country would be good. Then I told him, sir, this is what happens every 4 years and nothing ever changes. Furthermore, the subsidy that was removed, what is there to show for it? What is there to show for it? All these politicians are embezzling. They are all criminals, stealing from us. And we don't do much about it. Every year, Naira keeps going down. Practically. Since 1916 to 1960 to 2026, Naira has been going down, 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 down. There are some years that it consolidates, but on the bigger scheme of things, it goes down, 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 down. This is our country. This is our country. Central bank is scheming. Politicians are scheming. Ordinary Nigerians are suffering. People are suffering. This is unfair. This is unfair. The Nigerian Naira has lost catastrophic value in recent years. Guys, from 1960, when Naira used to be $1, there was a time Naira used to be higher than $1. There was a time. And now, inflation is the order of the day. Inflation has been running at over 25%. Over 25%. That is over a quarter. Making everyday goods increasingly affordable. Guys, you can't spend 10 naira, 20 naira, 15 naira anymore. It is now useless. Remember back in the days when I was smaller, you can use 15 naira to buy something nice. And then my parents would say back in the days, you can use 10 naira to buy something nice. Then someone will come and say, some people back in the days will say that back in the days you can use 5 kobo. We don't even spend coins anymore. In the UK, they spend their pence 20p, 30p. We can't even spend kobo. We can't even spend 5 naira. We can't even spend 50 naira. I wanted to buy Gala the other day. Gala is now 100 naira. A bottle of Fanta is 500. That is the plastic one. 500. Remember when I used to buy Fanta for 100 naira? And that was what? Was that not less than, that was like 5 years ago. In fact, less than 5 years. In 2022, a bottle of Fanta plastic was like 100 naira. So it was 100 naira. Now it is 500 times 5 of the amount. It is 5 times the amount. And this is our nation. I'm a Christian and I believe in prayer. So I'll say a quick prayer. Lord Jesus, please save Nigeria. Jesus, please save Nigeria. Jesus, please save Nigeria. Amen. And whatever religion you worship, please pray for Nigeria. Foreign investments are being discouraged to come to invest in the country. Central bank historically managed the currency in ways that created artificial exchange rates, which encouraged corruption through forex allocation and discouraged foreign investments. So central bank is also defrauding the nation. Hey. No. And we can't run away from this country. So you can't think, oh, this guy has been saying a lot. Let me japa. There's nothing in japa, guys. This is our country. And we need to fix our country. And we need to fix our country. We need to fix our country. Because there is nowhere like home. Nigeria is our birthright. Nigeria is our legacy. This is our identity. No matter where you go on the planet, you will be a black person. People will look at your skin color first before they ask for your nationality based on your passport. And you'll be a black person, so you're an African. And if you're an African, you'll be treated the same way. If you're a black African or you're an African, if you're a black American or you're an African American, if you're an African person, regardless of your accent, a white man sees you and they see you as a black person. So we need to fix our country. We need to fix our nation. We need to fix our identity. Because this doesn't look well on us. This is giving a race of people that cannot manage their own country. We can't manage our own country and we're just running around. We need to fix Nigeria. Please. And I'm sorry if I've insulted or offended you guys, but we need to start telling the truth to ourselves. Please. The next is oil dependency. Nigeria's economy is dangerously dependent on oil for over 70% of government revenue and 90% of foreign exchange earnings. This creates multiple problems simultaneously. When oil prices fall globally, Nigeria's entire budget falls apart. The oil industry creates relatively few jobs despite generating enormous revenue. Oil wealth creates a retainer. Oil wealth creates a rentier mentality in government. Leaders who see their job as managing oil revenue rather than building a productive economy. And the regions where oil is extracted, the Niger Delta, beats enormous environmental destruction while seeing little of the wealth generated. Nigeria depends on 90% of foreign exchange earnings from oil and 70% of government revenue from oil. A land with good soil that is fertile, a land with different mineral resources. I remember when I was in primary school, they used to talk to us, or rather, they used to teach us about the resources in Nigeria. We have coal, we have gold, we have several resources. But rather than focus on different resources, we pick one, the one that is easy to export abroad. That is my own human thinking, anyways. My thinking is because the world needs oil, and because the world needs oil and it is highly sought after, the politicians rather focus on oil and then ignore the rest, because the world can get the others from anywhere else. And so, what the world is using us in a way. I mean, is that not clear? But this video is not about the world. This video is about us, primarily as black people, as Nigerians. We need to fix Nigeria, and it starts with you and I. The next is tribalism and religious division. Nigeria is home to over 250 ethnic groups and is roughly equally split between a predominantly Muslim north and predominantly Christian south. Politicians have exploited these divisions for decades to mobilize voters along ethnic and religious lines rather than policy lines. The result is that Nigerians frequently vote against their own economic interest to support someone from their tribe or religion. This division makes national unity difficult, makes policy census almost impossible, and is regularly exploited to distract from the real issue, which is that the political class is stealing from all Nigerians, regardless of their tribe or religion. We have tribalism and religious divisions in Nigeria. And this is causing for Nigerians to be separated rather than being united. We need Nigeria to be united, not separated. We are all the same. We are all blacks. We are all Africans. We would rather separate ourselves based on language barrier because we practically look the same. As a Nigerian, I might differentiate an Igbo from an Hausa, but if a foreigner comes, we all look the same to them. We are the same. We are Nigerians. We are Africans. We need to unite and build our nation. This is our nation. And voting for the wrong candidates because they come from your ethnic group is you just harming yourself, because you're not doing anyone evil. You're doing yourself evil. If a Yoruba man would make your life better as an Igbo person, then go for the Yoruba. It is just a language. It is just a geographical region. We are the same thing. It is still our land. We share the same region. Same ways, I personally think the entire human race is meant to be in a united front. Humans are meant to be united. But let's start from Nigeria, because living in the UK, guys, check my YouTube channel, scroll down, go and check Canary Wharf. Amazing, beautiful places. It's people going by their days, living in a first world country with good road and electricity. Humans like us, they're not aliens, and we can do this, but our politicians would rather embezzle the money, or we vote for the wrong ones. But if you want to face reality, since I've been born, 1998 till now, I've not seen any good candidates. And I don't know much when I was a child, but now that I am an adult, so let's say since 2018 till now, there has not been any good candidates. So we have just evil people to choose from. We need to fix Nigeria. The next is brain drain. Nigeria is hemorrhaging its most educated and talented people at an alarming rate. Doctors, engineers, tech professionals, academics, and entrepreneurs are living in record numbers. They are living in record numbers for the UK, US, Canada, and other countries with better opportunities and better governance. This phenomenon, known as Japa, a Yoruba word meaning to flee, has accelerated dramatically in recent years as economic conditions have worsened. Every talented Nigerian who lives permanently takes their skills, their tax revenue, and their potential contribution to Nigeria society with them. Nigeria is losing good people. People are leaving because they don't want to suffer. And you can't blame them. The country is not doing much for them. They're either owing them or they don't provide them job. And so they seek greener pastures. But not everyone can japa. We need to fix this country, guys. We need to fix this country. We need to fix this country. Because when we fix this country, you get to stay in your own country. You get to stay in your own land. And you get to be proud of being a citizen. Imagine Nigeria was as beautiful as the UK. Or imagine Nigeria is as beautiful as the UK. Just imagine that. Think of how glorious this would be. And it is you and I that can do this job. No one else is coming to save us. Only us can save us. We can only save ourselves. Weak institutions. Nigeria's courts are slow, expensive, and susceptible to corruption. The police are widely feared rather than trusted, more associated with extortion than protection in the minds of ordinary Nigerians. The legislature is dominated by people whose primary interest is assessing the national budget rather than making good law. The Electoral Commission has presided over disputed elections that have never been fully resolved in a way that builds public confidence. Institutions are the invisible infrastructure that makes everything else work. Nigeria's institutions are too weak to support the country it needs to become. I'm heartbroken because this is our country, and I hope we will wake up to that realization that this is our country. I hope we will all wake up to that realization that this is our country. This is our country. This one, not anywhere else. This is the skin color. This is what we are labeled with. There's so many other things going on in the world, but this is our country first and foremost. And we need to fix our country because there is no running away from identity. There isn't. You can go anywhere in the world and you'll be treated as a black person. You'll be treated as a black person. And black people are treated the same all over the world. The same. Let's fix this country, please. The institutions need to be fixed. Police are known as criminals. People are scared of them. The judiciary, the legislature, the executive, they aren't doing much either. We need to fix this country. We need to fix this country. And finally, according to Claude, we have agricultural underdevelopment. Nigeria has some of the most fertile land in Africa, yet imports food it could grow itself. Hey, we are importing what we can grow. Agriculture employs over 70% of the population, but is chronically underfunded. Wow, this is news to me. Agriculture employs over 70% of the population, but it is chronically underfunded. So they don't fund it, chronically underfunded. It is unmodernized and increasingly dangerous due to the herder-farmer conflicts. It is unmodernized due to the lack of funding, and then it is dangerous to be a farmer because of the herder, which is a pattern. Because if it employs 70%, if Fulani herdsmen are fighting farmers, it will keep a lot of people jobless and poor. Feels like these farm herders are being made to do so. That is a conspiracy theory right there. I pray this is not the case. I pray so. Young people are leaving rural areas for cities, creating labor shortages in farming, while also swelling urban unemployment simultaneously. So young people are leaving rural areas, leaving a shortage of farming, but swelling urban unemployment because there isn't enough job. A country that cannot feed itself reliably is a country that will always be vulnerable. We have good land, we have good weather, we have rainfall, we have sunlight, and yet we're importing what we can farm. What is sad? This is very sad. That is highly disheartening. We have the resources, we have the climatic resources, we have the natural resources, we even have the human resources. We have so many people, and yet things are not going right. Why? I will answer that question in another video. The underlying truth. Every single problem on this list has a solution that is known, documented, and has worked in other countries. South Korea was poorer than Nigeria in the 1960s. Singapore was a swamp. Rwanda emerged from genocide to become one of Africa's best governed and fastest growing economies. The problem is not that Nigerians do not know what needs to be done. The problem is that the people making decisions benefit from the current dysfunction and have no genuine incentive to change it, which is why the solution ultimately has to come from the bottom up, from Nigerian entrepreneurs, educators, technologists, and community builders who decide to build the Nigeria they want to live in, regardless of what the government does or fails to do. We can't keep waiting for the government, and so you and I, we need to fix this nation. And I want you guys to join me in fixing this nation. We need entrepreneurs, educators, technologists, and community builders. Excuse me. And we need to build Nigeria. South Korea was poorer than Nigeria in 1960. Singapore was a swamp. Singapore is now a first world country. We need to fix Nigeria. And this is exactly what we are doing on Misfits. And that is why what we are doing on Misfits matters. Join me on this journey and join me in educating you on how to fix Nigeria, how to build Nigeria, how to rebuild Nigeria, how to restructure Nigeria. Together we can do this. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.